What is up guys, Kane here, and in this video we're going to go over some free-to-play artifacts and why you should upgrade them. So, first things first, we're going to start over with one of the main artifacts that you should kind of have and upgrade, which is the Sunflare Bow, as this shown here, especially for Nora, for her to become a pretty good DPS. But you can also use this artifact on one or two mages or stuff like that, or let's say any other ranged rogue. Not all of them, but some of them. And what this artifact does, it increases range. Basic attacks induce a crippling effect, reducing attack speed. It increases critical hit damage and damage to large and massive units. So mainly you will want this artifact at 4-star and 5-star. Sure, it gives a skill, but you don't really need that skill, as most of your other hero skills are more important than just this artifact skill, at least for most of the time until perhaps late game. Early to mid game, you don't really use things like this because most of the matches are over in like 20 or 30 seconds. The next ones I would kind of say that are those tank buffing ones or tank healing ones, such as this one, Astrari Infati. Now, the reason why I have made this 5-star, and this is actually my first 5-star, is because it makes the front line insanely tanky. Now, it depends on the fight, and it really depends who you are fighting. So sometimes my Varian ends up healing like 40 million, sometimes he ends up healing like 10 to 15, maybe to 20 million. So if we check, you can see my turtle healed 71 million, my Varian healed 42 million. That was more than a blue dragon with noble blood and all those healing bonuses that a blue dragon has. Now, as you can see, my Draconic on protection is maxed. Abilities, I have Noble Blood at level 100. So, as you can see, this friggin' Astrarian Fati artifact can be pretty insane. Even though I lost that fight, you can see the effectiveness of that. So in the fights where I usually win and I win quick, the damage doesn't go off on, let's say, my front line, so there is no healing to be done on that front line. So sometimes you're not going to see any effect because that front line is not taking any damage. So in some cases, when it is actually taking damage, you can see variant healing, and sometimes the damage is like too fast, sometimes it's too slow, so the numbers will always vary. But keep in mind, this artifact is pretty goddamn overpowered. So in this match, I do believe it was these two squads of Rakan Blades which barely got damaged because these two were at the Nora side, and as you can see, his Nora almost wiped my entire field. So more or less that's that. And the other one which I want to talk a little more about is another one which is also buffing the army, which is the Valkyrie Banner, and I also have it almost 5-star. What this artifact does is it grants an aura for, I do believe, 2 squads around the hero. Depends on your formation, it can be like 3 melee squads if you are adding more. It reduces the damage done by heroes to nearby melee troops. Aura also reduces magic damage taken by 1%. Then the aura is reducing the damage done by dragons to those squads. Then it reduces physical damage taken, which can include like physical damage from heroes, from dragons, from other types of sources. And then you have the 5-star, which prolongs the aura to 35 seconds, and it also increases health. So basically your front line will be a lot tankier than it could be right now. And like, why would you try to upgrade, let's say, your frontline. The thing is, if your frontline falls, then your backline is not going to do any damage, and if you focus everything on your backline, some events may be better, but you have like a small time frame where your archers will have to perform good, and if they don't and the enemy has a lot better archers, then your frontline is gone in like 2 seconds. And if you have a pretty strong frontline, it doesn't really matter if your archers are a little bit weaker, you still have a lot more time to actually perform with those archers than the enemy archers, even if they are more decked down. So there are a lot more buffs for your front line than there are for your back line. So in a sense, I'm pretty sure like quite a few people will also mention this one, which says each ranged attack grants 0.5% damage to nearby troops for a max of 50% damage. Now this artifact would require 5 stars, and that's so much resources that you're more or less investing into 2 squads of archers, which, depending who you fight, if it is like a black dragon, this artifact is literally almost nullified completely, even if you have 2 squads of archers. The reason for that is, even if you kill the enemy, those 2 archer squads, or whatever you will field, will keep getting CC'd and CC'd and CC'd over, and they will do literally no damage. However, if you're against a different type of dragon, perhaps this could actually be good. Now, I'm not saying this artifact is bad, but personally, I would think the frontline buffs are a little bit better in terms of like the PvP type. So if you're playing like Kingdom Guardian and you're raising like the damage, the thing is those squads are raising in so many tiers so quickly in the Kingdom Guardian event that like the damage alone is not going to cut it. Like my frontline in some cases just got obliterated almost instantly, and I had to resort to some tricks to actually perform good. So that is sort of the thing. You know, you have to think a little about whether or not that artifact will benefit you or you will perform good with that artifact. Now, the way I am building is not focusing insanely on specific events. So, for example, if I would level that bow, which would increase the range damage, it would buff up the archers quite fast. However, I am investing more on the front line so my archers could actually have more time to perform, and my backline is weaker in a few features like equipment. I think I don't have them tier 15, so I don't have specific enlightenment on them yet. I'm fielding only 27, so there isn't a huge emphasis on them right now because I still have like 1 week, maybe 2 weeks until I get them there 15. So so that's sort of the thing. So you have to more or less think about what you want to do, think about the rewards that you may receive, and think about whether or not you can pass the PvE events to their full extent in terms of, let's say, the elite trials, the Nightmare, or rather Nightfire Monster, Kingdom Guardian. If you are able to max them, then you're good to go and you can more or less build whatever you like. However, I have passed the Kingdom Guardian fully and all the other stages, I think, from whenever the events appear. I think my first time at Kingdom Guardian, I got stuck. Or wait, no, I never was stuck on Kingdom Guardian even when the event was fresh, and I barely even made it to top 50. I was like retrying that stage 50 probably 100 times, and eventually I got it. So, more or less, my idea is Frontline just poses a little bit more for those freebie events, at least in the earlier servers. However, again, guys, you have to remember that it depends on your build. So since I'm playing Rakan and I am mostly playing Rakan, most of the stuff I'm doing is to make adjustments to better my Rakan, and I do believe They are a tad bit better if you make the front line completely unkillable. However, I have faced a few other Rakans and their archers were like double the power of mine, and they still took like 45 or 50 seconds to beat me, but they did eventually beat me. But my front line was insanely tanky. So there are a lot of things, a lot more artifacts, but I do believe these four from the free to play artifacts are pretty much the top tier picks. And well, Halcyon Edge is also quite good, and you also need it 4-star if you have Basric upgraded, if you have Basric decked out. If you don't have Basric and you don't have like decked out Basric, Halcyon's Edge can be pushed a little bit back and it's not very needed because mainly only Basric can use it to full extent. Most other freebie artifacts, they are kind of, it really depends. Malinois Codex is good, depends on who you're using it. Could be used for Avril, could be used for Raxius, I do believe. And you also have the Leo's Pride if you have gladiators upgraded in research, in prisms, in equipment. If you have the Drake sets, you can upgrade this and then you can put it on Rufio and then use Rufio to full extent. However, if you don't have it upgraded in terms of research, prisms, equipment, you should not upgrade this artifact and you should not put it on almost any proper heroes unless you don't have anything else to put it on or them. The thing is, this artifact is good for specific things and it's good only for very specific things in terms of like jumping in the backline and assisting the hero to do damage, survive, or whatever. However, this doesn't do much else in most other cases, even if it would stun some enemies for a couple of seconds. At least, the resources are so scarce that you have to think about a little bit into the future and make your decisions according to that. And in terms of my own decisions, the previous four soon to be 5 artifacts are a lot better than most others, and the fifth one is the Tempering Charm, which is acting something like a how can I say, probably recon crossbow arrows, something like that, adding some fire damage to their attacks, to their arrows, also having some attack speed boost and also some explosions during attacks on the 5-star or whatever. So this sure does look like a pretty insane artifact, and I do believe it's free to play, so it's probably going to be the top tier upgrade for literally anyone whenever it comes out. If it is free to play, that artifact must be 5-star, just like a Stryrian Fati. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hopefully this will help you out, but do remember that this is for my build as playing Rakan and upgrading rogues and mechanists. So if you're playing something like a different faction like Lich and your focuses are mages, you have to adjust my information accordingly, because if you're not using those specific heroes, those specific like army units or whatever, it's not going to benefit you as much as it is benefiting me. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there.